I mean, how the fuck did that not kill you? I mean, is that not what it does to most people?
It had to have been. It had to have been really cut because the doses that they show that are fatal to a human. I had 10 times that on the end of this
right,
key.
Yeah.
But now, granted, I did get a very small scoop out of the bag. But, like, my hand was like this going to my nose because I had no idea. Like, I'm like, is that the last thing I'm going to remember?
Right.
Because you're
and
just
the fact that you knew that and you were doing it anyway.
And still did it.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that is the insanity of this fucking disease.
Oh, it was unreal. But it was a risk I was willing to take in order to not feel what I didn't realize I didn't want to feel anymore.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt, back here for another interview at D2D Con 7. Today is a long time coming. I love it when I get to interview a genuinely good person who used to genuinely be not a good person. That's probably my favorite fucking interview, and somebody that, because of all of those things combined, has become my friend. So I'm going to skip all the formalities and introduce my friend, Taylor. Is it Ammons?
It's Emmons, yes, sir.
Okay, I said it correct.
Good
Taylor.
pronunciation. You did well.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, man, bro. I'm so pumped to be here. I've wanted to do this for probably 6 months, and
why?
You know, it's just, man, I'm trying to get my personal story out there. I think I'm to the point now in my life and in my recovery that I really want to get my story out there because A, I'm doing a disservice if I don't.
Correct.
But B, by doing this conversation with you, it may save one person's life. And at the end of the day, is that any good?
Not to interrupt, but like, who the fuck drinks water out of a can?
I have.
This is disgusting.
I fucking have before. It's because you were an alcoholic.
This is fucking terrible.
It's not fucking hoppy water.
No, it's fucking gross though. Like, who put like?
You just think it's
you
gross.
Can't have
it's in a can.
You can't have tinny water. It's tinny.
How many hoses have you drank out of in your life?
I'll drink out of a hose before a fucking can.
Apparently not.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry. Go on. Your story.
All right, back to where we were. But anyways, to answer your question, I've been trying to get my story, my situations out there because I know for a fact that by me not hiding from my past, there's other people that are dealing with that shit, and by being vulnerable and getting it out there, it shows that it's okay to talk about some shit.
Yeah.
And that we're not alone. I used to think I was so fucking special until I got in the rooms of AA.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, damn, I'm like all these guys in here. Really, I'm actually a little better off than some of them.
Well, real quick, just because people are like listening and they're like, who the fuck is this guy and whatever, right? Like, let's give a little bit of real quick background on just who you are and what you're doing now, and then let's go into the past a little bit.
That'd be cool. I'm down for that. So my name is Taylor Ammons, like Eric was saying, but I own a small residential roofing and exteriors company in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm also a licensed public adjuster, and so I really have a passion just for helping and serving our clients. Prior to that, I was in automotive sales for a long time. That was kind of where I was able to learn how to communicate with people, and that was really where I got my first taste of personal development also. But currently, CEO of a roofing company in Nashville, and just really enjoying the ride of growing that and also growing the team that's around me as we grow that.
And then to back up, because as I introduced you as a former piece of shit and a good person now.
Thanks, buddy.
Right? These are the people that I'm automatically attracted to as friends, right?
Yep.
Are people that have went through some kind of strife, some kind of struggle, some kind of something, because there's nothing more boring than a motherfucker that doesn't have a bottom. Like some kind of bottom. Doesn't have to be an alcoholic or a drug bottom, whatever, but like you had to be through something to be interesting, and then learn from it. Because if you didn't learn from it, then you're just dead.
Yeah, I think what are they? That's the definition of insanity, isn't it?
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same fucking result. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So you obviously, like, you started talking about it. You've got not a history, but a present in recovery, right?
Yep.
But you obviously didn't in the past. When did that get bad? because there was probably a time when you were all right? Like you were just fucking around having a good time. What was kind of the catalyst that got you to like into the real piece of shit that was Taylor?
Yeah, which drug?
Oh, that's a good question.
You know what I mean? Because it kind of progressed. So here, we'll start out with this. The first arrest I had was 15 years old. Okay. Underage drinking.
Well, you're a problem early. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I started out real early. It was actually a burglary arrest and underage drinking.
Oh, what were you trying to burglar?
Well, we were hammered drunk. I told the judge that I drank a 6-pack of beer, but I really had like a 12-pack.
Who the fuck believes that? Yeah.
Well, she was like, wow, that's a lot for a 15-year-old. And I'm like, yeah. So
that's a lot.
I lied in court a long time ago.
Right.
But so 15 years old, arrested for the first time, hammered drunk after a high school football game at 15 years old, drank a bunch of beer. I remember I traded like 3 or 4 beers for 2 cigarettes. You know, it was a terrible trade.
Terrible.
But much needed. I really wanting that hit, you know. And but so we broke into this office building of a just small community, like what we roof now.
Yeah.
And, but we went in, broke into it, and we thought it'd be hilarious if we like looked up a bunch of porn on the computer and then left it. But the guy that I was with kicked a window out. We kicked the door in, so like it's not like they didn't know somebody was there.
Right.
And then somebody that lived in the community followed us back to the house that we were staying at, and the kid's house we were staying at actually had locked us out because he didn't want us to go out and do any of that. So he's like, click, you're not coming in my house. So we slept in the driveway in his car and woke up to a police knocking on the window, which was the first time of probably a dozen that had happened, of them asking us to get out of the car and why did we just go burglarize this office building. Yeah, so that was an interesting call home to my dad, but you know, because he was military. I was raised in a good family. A lot of people that I've noticed that come from addiction, they had like a really fucked up past.
Yeah.
Like, I've had some stuff that I've reflected on through AA that I'm like, was that a catalyst at all? Like, my parents got divorced at 12. Like, was that a catalyst? I'm like, I really don't think so, because it all started out for me that I enjoyed the feeling of like that euphoria of intoxication.
Sure.
And so it started out as something I enjoyed until it began to spiral out of control. And that probably transitioned more into college, because I really wasn't a pot smoker in high school. I drank like a fish, but I remember leaving a party my junior year of high school, going home telling my dad I left because people were smoking pot at this party, you know, and I'm hitting lines of blow like a couple years later with women.
So that was me. I was actually just telling this story to Tim last night. Like, I was the guy, even in like early in college, that like I judged all those people taking drugs.
Right.
I was like, you dirty drug
Isn't it
taker.
Crazy how quick that shit'll
fucking
flip?
Really fast, right? And I was like, wait a minute, these are great.
Yeah, because I figured out, you know, because I started experimenting with pain pills and stuff in college. I actually had a 4-wheeler wreck that chewed my whole right side of my leg up. No, I'm sorry, left side of my leg, and chewed up my right ankle. And
that's very important to the story, so I appreciate you clarifying.
I did have to. Yeah. Well, you know, somebody's going to watch this and see me, you know.
They're like, you lying motherfucker.
They're like, it was the other leg.
It was the other leg, asshole.
You know, fucking liar. Can't believe anything you said.
Now.
But so I started experimenting with pain pills, and I really liked that feeling.
Did you?
Of pain pill. I really did. Like the itch and stuff like that really drives people nuts. I liked it. But pills also like bring a lot of people down, and it was like I took an Adderall. Like I was super selling. I was very persuasive. I could have detailed conversations like you and I are having right now. I just had pupils the size of a needle. You know, and that was pretty much it. Like, it affected me a little bit differently. Other people are like, man, if I take a Percocet, I'm going to sleep. And
Correct.
I'm like, not me.
Yeah, that was me. I couldn't take pain pills. Like, they knocked me the fuck out, and I couldn't shit for a month.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it never affected me like that. Blow did that, but, you know.
Blow makes you shit, though. Yeah, the old baby laxative in it.
Yeah.
So you went from pain pills to...
So I went from pain pills to... I would say pain pills to cocaine, and that was all in college because we were just experimenting and having a good time. Yep. But, you know, it was definitely pain pills to cocaine, and then...
it's funny, coke becomes your identity.
It really, well, I remember in 2018 when I was living in Warner Robins, like I was running around in the hood doing cocaine all the time, and I used to just tell people like I'm a snorter. That's just how I referred to it. They'd be like, hey, what do you like? And I'm like, oh, I'm a snorter. Like I'm gonna have a few drinks, but like I'm a snorter. And they're like, oh, okay, cool.
You snorter?
Yeah, they're like, you want any meth? And I'm like, no, not really.
No, I'm a snorter.
Yeah, I'm a snorter. I like blood.
So for us, it was just it was the phrase, do you like to party?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
We use that.
We use that, and then we called Coke Larry.
Oh well, that's
don't know why.
That's pretty funny.
But somebody made it up, and we were just like, "You got any Larry?" And they're like, "Yeah." And like everybody in town knew what Larry was.
Yeah. I think ours girl was pretty heavy. Like it was white girl.
Yeah.
For a little while. Like then it was just girl. Like hey, you got any girl? And if you wanted heroin, it was boy.
So I did this. Oh, I didn't know heroin was boy, but
Yep.
I did that one time. I went to Vegas. And I didn't know how to get cocaine in Vegas. And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to be in Vegas for 3 days without, like, I didn't know anybody is what I meant, right? And so I called like some friends back home and I'm like, okay, I'm in Vegas. Obviously there's drugs everywhere.
Yep.
I just don't know how to obtain them. So could I get some tips and or suggestions? And they're like, go find a limo driver. And they're like, limo driver will like rent a limo for an hour, right? Like there's always a limo in the fucking whatever.
Yep.
Like rent a limo and the limo driver will always know somebody and you can go get some Coke. And I'm like, okay. So I go get a limo driver and I looked at him and I did that. And I was like, so I need to find a white girl. And he was like, well, does she have to be white? And I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. Fuck.
You're like, technically.
And yeah, and I was just like, God damn it. And like, I had to do this runaround for like 10 minutes until finally I went, okay, I'm going to stop speaking in code. Yeah, can you find me some cocaine? And he was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Get in. I was like, we just need to stop speaking in code.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So anyway, cocaine, did that turn into something else?
Cocaine got me hard. Pain pills.
Wait, what?
I said cocaine got me pretty well. That was weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you meant?
The addiction of cocaine really took over my life.
Got it.
There we go. There we go. All right. That needs to be a reel.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we are definitely not editing that.
No, not at all. But anyways, cocaine grabbed a hold of me pretty hardcore.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it had to do with I was starting to make a little bit more money. Because when I was doing pain pills, at the time when I was doing a lot of pain pills, I was doing Roxy's. They were about $20 a pill. And I think at most I'd buy about 10 of them at a time, which was $200. And that would usually last me a day or two at work. And then I'd usually have to buy more. So paycheck went to pain pills, but I really didn't have enough money to kill myself, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
It's super blessing. And I think the main reason I didn't kill myself off blow is because it was so stepped on by the time we were getting it too.
Yeah.
So it really I only had a few close scares where I was laying in bed like heart might pop tonight.
So I'm scared to death of I always think about the fact of if I was doing that now, because there's so much shit with the fentanyl and all the bullshit. I'm like, there's no fucking way I wouldn't be dead.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
I had a key bump of fentanyl one time. I had bought some where it was actually this.
You bought fentanyl, or you bought?
I intentionally bought fentanyl.
Why?
Well, because I got to go back a little bit.
Okay, please do. Jesus Christ.
I'm selling cars in Warner Robins at the time, and my sales manager, this was after I was trying to come out of the cocaine addiction.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the closet.
No, not yet. Not yet. And but I knew that my sales manager at this car lot did a lot of pain pills. And, the best way to offset detoxing from cocaine is to offset it with some other sort of drug.
It was Xanax for me.
Mine was pain pills.
Yep.
And so we got a pill one time, and I snorted it, and I could tell it was a pressed fentanyl pill because one of them, sent me to the moon. And so I went to the guy that got him, and I was like, hey, man, I know these are pressed pills. Can you get the raw fentanyl? And he's like, man, they're not pressed pills. I'm like, bro, I've been doing pills for a decade.
Right.
These are pressed pills. I can tell. And I was like, can you get the fentanyl? And then he's like, yeah, I can get the fentanyl. And so I was like, yeah, I want to get a little gram of that. Because I was like, I can just probably key bump a little of that, pay way less money. And then
right, because we're the kind of guys that just do a key bump and go, that's enough for me, thanks.
Yeah, it was rough. It was really rough because you can't just kind of key bump fentanyl back to back, because I ended up wrapped around a toilet multiple times.
How the fuck did that not kill you? Is that not what it does to most people?
It had to have been it had to have been really cut, because the doses that they show that are fatal to a human, I had 10 times that on the end of this
right,
key.
Yeah.
But now, granted, I did get a very small scoop out of the bag, but like my hand was like this going to my nose, because I had no idea. Like, I'm like, is that the last thing I'm going to remember?
Right.
Because you're just
the fact that you knew that and you were doing it anyway.
And still did it.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that is the insanity of this fucking disease.
Oh, it was unreal. But it was a risk I was willing to take in order to not feel what I didn't realize I didn't want to feel anymore.
Which was?
I think ever since I was younger, I struggled a lot with like dealing with emotions. You know, my dad was military, and so we really didn't learn how to explain and talk about anything that we were
not a lot of hugging.
I mean, we had some hugging. Dad, you know, my dad, I don't want to say he was gone a lot, but he worked during the day and then he'd come home at night. But it was like I grew up like baseball, and so it was really more about. I think I never really felt like I was getting to live a life. I was just kind of doing what I was supposed to be doing, and then the life that I decided to choose to live was just to get, like, it was just a giant party all the time. Mm-hmm. And that was just not good for anybody, especially my family, but for myself and my health also. And so I think the biggest thing was just you never wanted to actually deal with emotions or deal with the repercussions of your actions, so you just continued to numb it. And, you know, because you're making these decisions, you're not paying these bills so that you can buy these drugs, and then all of a sudden these 800 numbers are calling you, so you're dodging those calls, and that's giving you anxiety, so you have to get more drunk and more fucked up in order to cover up this feeling. So it was just kind of a compounding effect of numbing so that you didn't have to deal with shit. But what's really crazy is you still have to deal with all those problems at some point.
Unless you die.
Correct.
Which is why you don't care if you do or if you don't.
Right. And like my best friend / stepbrother, Matt, when he died, me and his little brother have a running joke to this day that he's the only one to beat a warrant in the state of Georgia. You know, because he had a warrant in Georgia, couldn't go back to Georgia, and then ended up flipping a vehicle, getting ejected, and died on impact.
Oh, Jesus, that's a joke?
Yeah, like, I mean, we're just like, yeah, you know. And, well, you know, he's also the type of guy, he would appreciate that we can keep his legacy going like that.
Sure.
You know, but
he would have laughed at it, too.
Yeah, he definitely would have laughed at that. But you know, it's definitely easier now being able to deal with stuff and work through stuff and have conversations. Like, thankfully today, I don't have to hold anything in.
Right.
Like, I can be brutally honest about everything that I'm dealing with. I can have conversations with my wife. I can talk to her about things in my past or things that I'm currently struggling with.
Not all of them, though.
You know, and that fucked me up. But you know, being able to talk about those things, I don't really have that much baggage that I carry around with me anymore.
No, I think what's important now and what's important today, at least for me, is I always felt so, and this is what I think we were kind of getting to, was I always felt so alone. Hey, we can hear you guys in the background. I felt so alone that I wanted to be part of something, and I wanted to be able to have conversations with people, and I never found that until I found not only the sobriety, but the brotherhood of it, right? Because now today, like you were talking about, I can talk to my wife, I can talk to whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, I can talk to my wife, and that's great, right? But there's some things I can't because she doesn't get it, right? Like, your wife wasn't an addict, right?
Right.
So she doesn't understand being a fucking addict.
Right.
So you can talk to her all you want, and she's going to nod her head and go, love you, honey, you know, support you.
Yep.
But she doesn't get it, right? But
I agree with that.
But you can call me, or you can call Bubba, you can, right? And you can have like a real fuck, man, like, this is what I'm going through, and we get it immediately. And I think that gift that we were given because of what we went through is something that it's sad that other normal people don't necessarily have, because they don't realize that they even need it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. 100%. You know, and that's what I've had those conversations with my wife that, like, hey, it's almost like a Rolodex of like, oh, this issue popped up, and I normally go to this person to deal with that problem because they have a good answer on that specific subject. So it actually bothers my wife sometimes that I don't talk to her about more things, but I'm like,
Does
honey,
it?
It does, yeah. She's openly said that, like, hey, I wish you would talk to me about more things. And I'm like, well, hey, no disrespect. I know the people I need to go to when I'm dealing with certain things that I need to get answers
Loyal,
on.
sometimes he needs to fucking call me. So settle the fuck down and support your husband in talking to his friends about some shit. You're welcome.
Hey, appreciate it.
I'm sure that will land very well.
Well, she knows you. So she knows you, so she's probably going to be like, typical Eric.
Yeah, typical Eric.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, that's what's been a breath of fresh air for me is, you know, before you were running around with people that had no dreams, no goals, no aspirations. And so when you did want to try and break out and escape from those chains that we were bound by, you were getting drugged back in. And so you really, I mean, it's a transformational experience because you can't just say, I don't drink anymore and stop drinking and not change anything else. Like, it really has to be a massive action and a huge swing where you change everything. About your life.
Everything.
Because if you don't, everything that you're doing is going to remind you of what you're normally doing in that situation, and you're going to relapse, and it's not going to fucking work.
Man, that is a really, really good point for people that are listening, because I get that question all the time, or comment, I should say. They're like, well, I'm gonna not drink for 30 days, or I'm gonna not drink for 60 days. I'm like, well, congratulations, right? Are you gonna actually do something to change the way that you operate? Though, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we've done, is we changed how we operate. We either had this spiritual awakening that we call it, or we've had a mental shift, or like, what's the term? It's not mental shift.
Spiritual awakening?
Nah, there's that, but then there's another one. It's said in the book. Anyway, but like, you have this actual like shift of mindset, right? And it's funny I use mindset because like we go to all these different coaching groups, right? We're in like different masterminds and all this different shit. And I've been to all these deals, and I'll sit through what they're doing, and I'll start laughing, and I'll be like, hey, fucker, that's 4-step.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's crazy how it's all related.
It's all the same, and you're paying 40 grand for it. And I'm like, or you could go to fucking AA and get it for free.
Oh, I think everybody could benefit from AA,
for sure.
drunk or not.
Yes.
You know, and so that's what I get it when people are first like getting their toes wet in sobriety. Like, hey, I'm going to do a 30-day sabbatical. I'm going to do a 60-day sabbatical, like just to try it out. But, you know, I tell people all the time, because I get people that'll hit my DMs and they'll be like, hey, I think I'm really struggling with alcohol. What do you recommend for me? And I'm like, just try and stop completely. See if you can, because the big book says something like that. And if you can't, then you've answered your own question. Or B, just say, hey, I'm not going to drink during the week. I'm going to drink on the weekends. And then again, if Tuesday night you buy a bottle of liquor on the way home from the liquor store and you polish that bitch off, then you've probably got an issue. But
here's what I say now.
Yeah.
And this came up when I did the Brad Lee interview, was if it's something that you're thinking about could possibly be a problem, right? Can you ask yourself legitimately, how is it serving me? Right? And if you don't have a good fucking answer for that, then maybe you should stop.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. How is it serving you? Because there's other people who be like, yeah, I socially drink, and like it serves me because I can go to these functions and I can, you know, socially interact, and I can close deals. I was just
thinking about that.
Yeah,
the people that can do that, I still envy to this day.
100%.
I wish I could casually drink.
It's the great obsession of every alcoholic.
Yeah. It's like that would be cool, but I go to that I may casually drink that day.
Yeah.
I may casually drink for a month or 2 years.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm going to be in a hotel doing blow with a hooker.
Because I know about that about myself.
100%.
Yeah, and I will fall asleep at a head table at a wedding.
Yeah.
Like I've done that, and I was not in the wedding party. Right? Like I would
that's never good. It's a bad look.
I'd be like, this looks comfy.
Yeah.
And I'd literally go fucking sleep at the head of a wedding. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't go to that wedding going, I'm going to get fucked up tonight.
No. I'm going to drink beer only.
I'm going to drink beer only.
Yep. I'm going to have I'm going to bring my liquor in the flask just in case I want a shot of Jack.
Yeah, in case they don't have it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to be prepared. Yeah, right. That was a good Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's open fucking bar.
Yeah, like, I'm just going to socially have a good time. Oh, why is that motherfucker sleeping at the head table again?
Eric blacked out again.
Oh, Eric blacked out again, right?
And then when you wake up the next morning with that splitting headache's worse because you start trying to think, who do I need to apologize to for the actions in the last 24 hours?
So I would have to I would have to identify parts of town and different bars that I wouldn't go to for 2 or 3 months because I knew that something happened, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Oh, shit.
And so then I would be like, okay, so I mean, like, this is a local reference, but like I would drink in West Omaha and like Northwest Omaha for like a month or two. And then I knew something happened, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Midtown.
Yep.
And then I'd go to Midtown for a month and a half. And then I'd sell drugs to the wrong guy or do something. And I'm like, I wonder if I can go back out to West Omaha yet. I bet they forgot about it.
Right.
And it's like, well, why don't I go south first and then have a little bit more time? And then I'd go drink in Southwest Omaha. And I'm like, oh, this isn't my fucking crowd, but I'll piss somebody up. And I literally did that round until I ended up finally quitting.
Yeah, I did that with drug dealers for a while.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I mean, I
became the drug dealer, though. Did you not sell?
Oh, I was terrible at it.
Oh.
I was so bad. I tried multiple times. I tried selling weed. I tried selling pills. I tried selling cocaine.
Were you bad at it because you did all of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I was one of those, like, I would work a Monday through Friday, and I would sell drugs.
Yeah.
And then on Friday, I would use my paycheck to re-up all the drugs that I smoked. And yeah.
Isn't it funny how many people don't know the term re-up?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, like a lot of people, you say, they're like, what the fuck is a re-up?
Yep.
And it's like,
and then you're like,
explain it. Yeah,
right.
It's like, whatever.
Yeah, you're
but
like, don't worry about it.
But I always tell the story, like, I paid retail for Coke once.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck you, that's expensive.
Yep.
And I remember, and I just looked at the guy, and I was like, can I buy a bunch of it and just sell it to my friends?
Right.
And they're like, yeah, sure, you can do that.
Right, yeah. Like, I don't
and I can get a better deal. And they're like, yeah, sure, we'll give you a great deal.
Right.
Like,
You're like, why the fuck is this nickel in my bag?
yeah, like, this is fucking ridiculous. I don't know how we got there.
Yep. I do have a funny story for you, though.
We love stories
about
here.
bar hopping?
Yeah.
Okay, so in 2016, I was on state probation in the state of Georgia, and I caught 2 DUIs 18 days apart. The first one they were both in January, and so when I got the first one, I'm on state probation, I go hire an attorney, and I'm like, dude, I fucked up last night. I was leaving a party, fell asleep at a stoplight, had a cop come up. I said I refused everything, and they took me to jail. I bailed out. I'm here meeting with you. And so he said, he was like, well, you did exactly the right thing. You kept your mouth shut. You didn't take field sobriety. They have nothing. Like, I will beat this. Stay out of trouble. 18 fucking days later, I'm back in his office, and I was like, hey, you remember how you told me
don't fuck up?
Don't fuck up. I was like, I made it 18 days, and I got a DUI last night. And he looked at me, and he was like, I can't fucking help you now. And I was like, what do you mean you can't help me? And he was like, you literally just got a second DUI on state probation. He's like, as your counsel, I'm supposed to tell you to go turn yourself in, because the city jail in Cartersville, Georgia, talked me into bonding out. I wasn't going to bond out. And I told the cop, I was like, I literally just got a DUI 18 days apart. And he was like, well, dude, just bond out. I'm starting to think they get fucking commission for this shit. Because he's like, dude, just bond out. Like, how do you know they're going to pick you up? And I was like, bro, the state of Georgia, they're fucking coming, bro. And so they did. So I was like, well, hey, friend to friend, what should I do? He's like, friend to friend, I just see when they pick you up. Well, I didn't change anything. So I'm still bar hopping, still doing everything. And the cops and I were on a first name basis in small town Cartersville, Georgia. And so I was leaving a Mellow Mushroom in downtown Cartersville and was getting in my car, blacked out drunk again, to drive again. And boom, cop cars pulled up. And I hear him go, Taylor, what are you doing? And I took the keys out of the ignition real quick, and I was like, I was fixing to Uber home, but I guess I'm going with y'all now. And they're like, yep, yeah, so we've got a warrant for your arrest. And I said, I figured you did. And I was like, well, let's go ahead and roll out. I mean, at this point, I'd been arrested 6 or 8 times. So I didn't care. I'm just like, let's go. And
isn't it weird how it becomes normal?
It was easy. It got way easier. Like, the first time I got arrested and populated, I was like, oh, shit. You know? And then 2 weeks in, I'm like, nah, I can do this.
Oh, my God. Yep. That's such a thing that people don't realize. Like, once you normalize it, it makes it even harder to get out of the cycle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, I got to the point where once I got 30 days under my belt, I could have done however much time I needed to. Because it's when you go through and you get that little mindset shift, and you're just like, well,
I'm here.
The outside doesn't matter. Like, I'm just here. I've got to do my time. Don't let the time do me. And so, anyways, state probation came to see me. I'm in Bartow County's jail. And they gave me 12 months revoked to serve in the county jail. So 12 months in county. And I was like, damn, for 2 DUIs? And he said, oh, no, this is for the first one. I'm not mentioning the second one to the state. And I was like, well, can I go talk to a judge? I said, but when I got sentenced originally in 2012, the judge told me, if I see you in here again, I'm going to make sure you go to prison. And he said, well, then that's all the ammo you need to sign this waiver and just do your 12 months. So I got hit with the 12 months. In Bartow County, it was like you had to do 60% of your time. It used to be 2 for 1, then it went 60%. So I had to do about 8 of those months. And the night I got home from doing those 8 months, I get picked up, go home, get a shower, go to the barber shop, and we're at the bar, right? And so I don't know if you can see like all these scars on the top of this hand and how all of this is crushed. So I got into one of the gnarliest fights I've ever been into at a bar, blacked out, the night I got out from doing like 8 months in jail. So I'm standing outside, hammered, I hadn't drank in 8 months, and I was back like I never left. And so I see this guy come walking past me, and he's a big dude, and I recognized him from jail, and I was like, what's up, Bartow County? And he was like, what's up? And he just walks right past me, goes into the bar, and just starts absolutely wailing on this dude. And I'm seeing it through the glass. I'm just smoking my Newport, right? And so I was like, oh, shit, because the guy he was wailing on was where my buddy was just sitting. So I thought he went in and jumped on my buddy. And so I was like, oh, I got something for his ass, right? So he starts walking back out of the bar.
And it wasn't a Newport.
Which one?
I just said, and it wasn't a Newport.
Oh, what I was smoking?
Yeah.
Oh,
what you had for him. God damn it. Fucking cut it, edit, fucking edit. Fucking Taylor fucked my joke up. Edit. All right, go on.
No, it wasn't a Newport. My bad.
Oh, okay. So edit it like that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was not a Newport.
Got it.
But so he's walking back towards me, and he makes eye contact with me, and he's about for me to the camera away, and I crow hop him, and just I put every bit of my hand into his mouth. I watched his top row of teeth fold backwards in my hand. My hand was this deep into his mouth. You can see the scars from his front teeth. He took one fucking step back and smiled at me. His teeth were folded the fuck back. And I was like, oh shit. So I start backing up, and I'm just like piecing as good as I can. And then the bar kind of jumps on him, and then I haul ass because I'm like, oh shit, like that did not go the way I thought it was going to go. So I run out, I jump in the bed of my buddy's truck, and I wrap my hand up because it's gushing blood. And then the guy that I was there with was like, I've got to stay and talk to the police. I'm like, are you fucking retarded? Like, I've got to go home. I got to get the hell away from here. And so I'm just laying in the bed of this truck, and the cops get there, and I can hear, they're close enough. If the cops would have just leaned onto the bed of the truck, I'd have been dead. I don't know how long they would have given me in jail, but I just did that time. Like, I hadn't been out of jail 24 hours.
Right.
And so the next morning, so I end up didn't get caught. My stepbrother Caleb drove me back to my house, and I washed my hand off, glued it all back together, wrapped it up. Hands in my pocket at all times, right? I've got gauze all around here. And then I go to that same bar the next day about lunchtime. Hands in my pocket, drinking a beer with my current attorney, right? He was there reviewing camera footage from the fight the night before because his client was punched in the face. We were both his fucking
Oh,
clients.
my God.
Yes. And so I have my hand in my pocket, my hands glued back together. I'm drinking a beer, talking with my attorney, and he was like, you know what? The motherfucker looked just like you, but I know your dumb ass wouldn't have got into a fight the day you got out of jail. And I was like, nope, wasn't me. And this is the first time that story's gonna like air. Oh yeah. I was like, wasn't me. As like my hand is split to the bone. Nobody ever found out about it.
Motherfucker.
Nobody ever found out about it.
That's an amazing story.
It was crazy. But then I would have to do the same thing. Like, let me avoid this bar for a while. Or it would get to the point where I would go to a bar on a Friday night, Saturday night. They're checking IDs, and the bouncers would know you by name too. And they could tell by the look on my face if I was too far gone to come in, and they'd be like, hey, Taylor, not tonight. Because they knew there was going to be some shit. I was the one, if somebody looked at me funny across the bar, you and I are about to go.
You were that guy.
Yeah.
You were that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I had no issue fighting. I loved it.
So I think that I'd really like the theme of this episode to be the fact that, like, there is opportunity for redemption.
Yep.
There is opportunity to be better. There is opportunity that there is hope.
Yep.
I talk about this a lot, and like I want people to understand, like, yeah, we just told some fucking drunkalogs and we told some funny stories, and you know that's what this is about. Like, we want to be able to connect on a different level, but like for people out there that are listening to what we're doing or what we're talking about, it's not all fun, right? Because it's going to fucking hit you in the dick.
Yep.
And a lot of times, like for every my and your story out there, there's 1,000 that didn't fucking make it.
100%.
Right? Like,
yep.
You are more than likely going to be the fucking statistic.
Yep.
Right? If you don't do something about what you're going through right now. And
yep.
that's why guys like Taylor and guys like me want to be here to be able to support other people that are going through the same struggle and want to find help, right?
Yep.
There's so many people out there that have the shitty mentality of, you know, like, well, just quit. You can just quit, you know, and
yep.
I'm like, yeah, maybe you can, maybe you can't, but why the fuck would you take a chance, and why wouldn't you
yep.
go find the support that you need? So I want to make sure that I kind of wrap up with that, and then I want to give you, I always give the guest the last 2-3 minutes to make sure that if there's something that I forgot or you want to make sure that you leave with everybody,
yep.
I want to make sure you have the floor for that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. How many times have you been around somebody and you've mentioned that you don't drink anymore, and they say, is this like a permanent thing, or do you think you'll start drinking again?
Oh, yeah, I get asked that all the time.
You get that a lot?
Yep.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it doesn't bother me to get that question, but at the end of the day, alcohol seems to be the only drug that if you decide not to be doing it anymore, people look at you a little bit differently. But people really need to be able to embrace that they're doing what's best for themselves.
Yep.
And that's the reason that I stay sober to this day. For me, at first, it was to get out of the dark pits that I was in.
Yep.
But now I'm starting to see where people, enjoy having me around for the most part. You know, people will lean on me. They'll reach out to me for help. Like, I never thought that I would ever be the person somebody would be like, ask Taylor.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like what not to do.
Yep.
But not as far as like, hey, I'm struggling with this. What advice do you have for me? How did you get through that?
Yeah.
So now,
who the fuck thought you'd become that guy?
I know. It's way greater than myself at this point.
Yep.
And so, if I relapse, we talked about a certain individual that had a lot of people looking at them and they relapsed.
Yep.
And how many lives could that have potentially cost because you chose to fucking relapse?
Yep.
You know, because it's a choice at the end of the day.
It's fucking selfish.
Oh, 100%.
It's 100% selfish.
So I don't drink because I don't want to deal with the repercussions of where I know it will lead me.
Yep.
But the main reason I don't pick up a drink is so people that watch this podcast that want to know that there's somebody they can reach out to, that I'm going to be here and I'll be fucking sober.
I think the best thing that you said there that really resonated with me, and I'm going to steal it, is that I stopped drinking to get out of the darkness.
Yep.
But I stay sober to stay in the light.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, I paraphrase, but that's...
I like that a lot better than what I said.
But that's what I'm taking,
Yeah,
right, from it,
100%.
is that, like, I stopped to get out of the dark, and I'm going to stay here because I want to continue to stay in the light.
Yep.
And I think that is the mindset shift,
Yep.
because it's not away from the negative. It's not, I don't want to go back to the dark.
Yep.
It's, I want to stay in the fucking light.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
So everybody, if this is something that you're struggling with, please comment, reach out to one of us. You know, if we can't help, we fucking know somebody that can.
Yep.
I love having people on the show that have went through recovery. It means something to me, and I think it means something to the people that listen. Taylor, thank you for being my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for having dinner with us last night.
No, thank you for dinner. I owe you.
And everybody, Zyn, for all of your nicotine needs. Cinnamon is my favorite. I like to mix it up with some citrus once in a while because, fuck, you just never know what you're going to get. But, yeah, we don't have any sponsors, so I'm just trying to get Zyn to sponsor the show.
Dude, that blows. I've had a Zyn in the whole time. I would like hold up my citrus can.
It fucking drives me crazy, but I'm trying to get Zyn. I mean, Tucker Carlson got them, so, you know,
oh, yeah.
I'm just going to keep trying. So, Zyn, for all your nicotine needs. Check out the podcast. Please share, like, subscribe, all of those things. Don't forget about the cult culture movement. We got group coaching calls twice a month. We do private coaching, all that kind of stuff. So if that's something that you're looking for as well, please reach out on any of these platforms. You can find me. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being part of this journey with myself and with Taylor.
No doubt.
And remember, everybody, to be authentic or get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.